You might think you're in complete control of what you buy online, but the truth is the choices you make are calculated, predicted, and gently guided into place milliseconds before you even click. For decades, marketers relied on psychological frameworks like Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They viewed human desires as a static pyramid, assuming people shopped simply to satisfy basic, predictable, physiological, and psychological drives. This chart shows the Engel-Collat-Blackwell model. It maps purchasing as a straightforward, linear path. You recognize a problem, search for information, evaluate alternatives, make a decision, and reflect on the purchase. It was a one-way street, entirely unmonitored by the store itself. The modern digital storefront operates as an active, continuous surveillance system, logging every micro-interaction to build a real-time behavioral profile. The rise of big data did not erase those old psychological theories. Instead, architects of modern e-commerce weaponized them. They translated theoretical human psychology into real-time executable code. We are no longer independently browsing aisles. We are interacting with a predictive machine explicitly designed to map our behaviors and manufacture intent. The modern journey begins the moment you touch the search bar. Traditional stores grouped you by your age or zip code. Amazon segments you entirely by what you do right now. They use clickstream analytics to track every subtle movement, how far you scroll, and exactly where your mouse hesitates. It is all logged. Every click feeds into machine learning models that translate physical movements into a map of your immediate psychological state. Using collaborative filtering, the algorithm compares your exact sequence of hesitations against millions of others. Within milliseconds, it restructures the layout of the page and populates customized product recommendations to match your specific profile. The digital aisle you walk down does not exist for anyone else. It is constructed entirely around your predicted desires to eliminate friction and narrow your view of any alternatives. Once you find an item, you enter the evaluation phase. Classical theory suggests you now weigh your options rationally. Instead, the platform actively shapes your intention to buy. This graph tracks dynamic pricing. Algorithms adjust costs millions of times daily to manufacture urgency. Simultaneously, the system scans customer reviews, extracting precise emotional trigger words and surfacing them next to the buy button. All this digital behavioral engineering dictates massive physical logistics. The invisible calculations predicting your purchase directly instruct how inventory is distributed across fulfillment centers globally. What feels like a logical, independent evaluation of cost and peer reviews is actually a highly orchestrated moment of algorithmic persuasion. And the system's reach no longer stops at the edge of your screen. The shopping journey now starts before you ever open a laptop. Smart speakers and home devices act as ambient data collectors. They gather contextual cues from the physical environment of your living room and kitchen. Voice commerce transforms shopping from an active, conscious task you sit down to do into a continuous, invisible daily habit. By gathering localized, household-level data, the system predicts what you will run out of and when. It even utilizes anticipatory shipping, moving products to a regional hub near you before you actually place the order. The algorithm has moved past simply tracking your mouse clicks. It forecasts your physical needs based on continuous ambient surveillance. This economic reality is known as surveillance capitalism. Every behavioral data point you generate is relentlessly extracted, packaged, and monetized to optimize the platform's efficiency. When these systems rely on opaque training data, it leads directly to algorithmic bias. Two people with identical needs can be offered entirely different prices or promotions for the exact same item based on hidden demographic profiling. This level of hyper-personalization traps consumers in rigid filter bubbles, gently nudging them toward predetermined behaviors while hiding the rest of the market. We get unparalleled convenience, but the cost is a massive surrender of digital privacy and consumer autonomy. Navigating this data-driven economy requires taking deliberate steps to reclaim your digital agency. The first step is navigating deep into your account settings to explicitly opt out of behavioral tracking and targeted browsing history. You have to shut the data stream off. Step 2 requires regularly clearing your voice interaction history and deleting the ambient physical data stored by the smart devices in your home. Step 3 is looking for privacy by design, interfaces built to protect data by default rather than exploit it. Once you recognize the dark patterns used to hide opt-out buttons and confuse your navigation, the subtle manipulations on the screen become obvious. Finally, you must intentionally diversify where you shop. Spreading your habits across multiple platforms prevents any single algorithm from building a monopolistic profile of your life. By disrupting the data points that guide our cursors, we reclaim the ability to make choices that are truly our own, rather than outputs of a machine.